Okay, so can we start with looking at the importance of, and I guess some of the challenges that are around endpoint backup, in the current time?
Yeah, definitely. So, the thing with endpoint backup, it's one of those things that's very often overlooked from a data protection standpoint. So, I mean, you look at like SMBs specifically, they tend to make really heavy use of local storage on their endpoints, right? Because maybe they don't have the infrastructure needed to store it elsewhere. And then, I mean, even when you get into larger organizations, they often have the expertise to do things like folder redirection and fancy stuff like that to try and get around the issue of users storing data on their endpoints. But the fact of the matter is users are strange. I mean, users will always figure out a way to store stuff locally somewhere on the endpoint. And really, we kind of saw that there was a little bit of a gap in the industry, and there was a need for an easy to use multi-tenant utility for MSPs to kind of address that need.
Okay, so you've sort of hinted at that. So the Altaro endpoint backup for MSPs is a product you do. I guess the main objective is to help, as you say, the MSPs, consultants, maybe, I don't know, systems integrators, to offer or assist their customers with some of those challenges you've outlined, yeah?
Yeah, correct. So yeah, I mean, the tool is designed to be super easy to use. I mean, that's kind of one of our mantras here at Altaro. If we can't go out with a product that is easy to use yet powerful and has all the features that MSPs and end companies are looking for, we won't go out with it. So every product we put out, endpoint backup included, is designed to be easy to use. And the management is integrated into what we call our cloud management console, or CMC for short. Really, it's a multi-tenant, kind of single pane of glass web UI to really kind of help make it easier for those MSPs and consultants to actually use the product and provide that value, not only for themselves, but for their end customers too, right? Because at the end of the day, they need to keep their customers happy as well.
Yeah. So in terms of the actual you mentioned things like multi-tenant and stuff, but can you give us some idea as the basic features of the product itself?
Yeah, definitely. So I mentioned the centralized management console already. So not only is it a centralized management console for endpoint backup, but if you use any of the other tools in the Altaro suite of backup products, it's the same console. So if you have our VM backup product, same console. If you have our O365 backup product, same console. We kind of, again, coming back to that ease of use idea, want to make it easy to use, especially for MSPs that are dealing with, at scale type of management, right? Where they have, 100, 200, 500 customers, and all of the associated infrastructure that goes along with that, right? A couple other key features of the offering, we've got, the ability to back up roaming endpoints without a VPN. So, I mean, historically, to do something like this, you would have had to make sure that endpoint was, connected via VPN back to a centralized data center somewhere, or back to the company's, server room in some way, shape, or form in order to facilitate that. We can do that without the need of a VPN, which is it really, again, coming back to that ease of use idea. The backups are file-based and they're policy-driven. So, if you want to only protect, the documents and desktop on these set of PCs over here, you can. Or, maybe you have like a set of roaming engineering laptops where they're running workloads like CAD or Solid Edge or something like that. And, they have their own specific directories that need to be backed up using the endpoint backup product. You can use policies to configure all these different policies and assign them to the endpoints when you're doing the management of the solution. And then the other thing that I always like to point out when talking about endpoint backup, MSPs specifically, they're very familiar with the concept of, like I said, those mass deployments and managing a massive number of machines. We have the ability to do scripted deployments of the endpoint backup agent using either GPO or your whatever RMM tool you're using as the MSP. Because we want, again, back to ease of use. We want to make sure it's easy for the MSP to deploy and get out there. And yeah, so those are some of the key features. It's not a comprehensive list, but those are some of the key ones.
Okay, and I mean, as you've described them, you've obviously sort of hinted or described some of the benefits, but are you able to encapsulate, I guess, some, the benefits, whether it's for the MSP or obviously their customers who are, the ultimate people that are going to benefit from these backups.
Yeah, definitely. So, from the MSP's perspective, I mean, again, they're dealing with multiple issues from multiple customers day in and day out, right? And endpoint backup being historically difficult, it's always been a space that they've been a little hesitant to get into just because of that. And again, we've attempted to make the product so easy to use that it takes all the work out of it for them, right? So we got that single pane of glass management where they can manage all their customers' endpoint backups from the same location. It's designed out of the gate to be multi-tenant. So you see a lot of these products in the industry where you can almost tell that, it started as like an on-premises type of, end company focused product, but then they tried to kind of pivot and turn it into an MSP tool. And it's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, and I mean, some of them have pulled it off. Don't get me wrong, but this product was designed from the get-go with multi-tenancy in mind. I mentioned the policies and the scripted deployments already. The other thing is the product is designed to work with Azure Cloud Storage. So you don't even have to bring your own storage. You don't have to like set up a server somewhere or in your data center or a cloud data center. You just carve off a storage account in an Azure data center somewhere, whatever region you want. So if you have to be, if you have to adhere to things like GDPR or here in the States, if you have to worry about things like HIPAA or PCI regulation, you have the ability to control which region that data actually lives in. So we got a lot of flexibility just because of the Azure cloud storage there. And there's some other features that provide a lot of benefit to the MSP, like change block tracking. We provide monthly billing for the solution, so it really lines up with a lot of MSPs, financial model with their business and their end customers. No contracts. We really strongly believe in the whole no contracts thing here at Altaro. We don't want to lock anybody in for 1, 2, or 5 years or whatever. You see a lot of different versions of that out in the industry, but we don't do that. The other important thing that I think is really helpful for MSPs, kind of going back to the whole compliance and regulatory discussion, right, is activity audits. So we have the ability to track, kind of who was doing what inside of the management UI in case they ever need to produce that information either to their end customer or some sort of regulatory body. So really, it's kind of we got a lot of features packed into a nice package that provides a lot of value for the MSP and offering their services.
Okay, and for those of them that are interested in sort of kicking the tires, is there a trial version they can download access to see exactly how it works before they potentially roll it out?
Yeah, definitely. So you can go out to the Altaro website at www.altaro.com. Up at the top, you'll see a partners and MSPs drop down. You'll see endpoint backup right in there, and there's a big, huge, fat, free trial button in there, so you can't miss it. So definitely, you can also reach out to sales@altaro.com, if you have questions, or our support team is fantastic. I have nothing but good things to say about our support team. You can reach out to support as well, and they've been known to answer all kinds of technical questions. Even if you're not a current customer, they've been known to handle those questions as well. So we're here to help.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for talking us through the products. Yep, thanks for your time, Andy.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having us.